You may feel it before you can explain it. Not pain, not illness. Just a quiet sense that something is changing. You may notice that simple things take more effort now. Standing up feels heavier. Holding objects feels less certain, and when you mention it, you're often told the same thing. It's normal. It's just age. Your tests look fine, but deep down that answer doesn't sit right, because what you're feeling isn't sudden, and it isn't imaginary. It's subtle, gradual, almost polite. You may still be walking, still thinking clearly, still doing what you always done, yet something underneath feels different, less reserve, less margin, less resilience. You may wake up already tired, or feel weaker by the afternoon without knowing why. And when you look for reassurance, the numbers say, you're normal. Normal blood work, normal scans, normal vitals. So why does your body feel like it's quietly slipping away from you? This is the question many seniors ask in silence, and it's one of the most misunderstood experiences after 65. Because what's happening doesn't show up clearly on tests, it doesn't announce itself loudly, and it doesn't follow the rules people expect. Today, we're going to talk about that invisible gap. The space between everything looks fine and I don't feel like myself anymore. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why this happens, why it's not your fault, and what actually helps once the body changes its rules. But first, there's something important you need to hear. What you're feeling is real. And it's not just aging. Stay with me. Most seniors who feel weaker aren't neglecting their health. In fact, many are doing everything right. They eat reasonably well. They take their medications. They try to stay active. They follow advice given years ago. And yet, the results don't match the effort. This creates quiet frustration. You try harder, but feel less return. That's because after 60, and especially after 65, the body stops responding the way it used to. Not dramatically, but decisively. Think of it like this. For most of your life, your body worked like a responsive engine. You added fuel. You moved. You rested, and the system rewarded you. But now, the same inputs don't produce the same output. Not because you're failing, but because the engine itself has changed. Digestion slows. This doesn't mean food stops going in. It means nutrients stop arriving where they needed most. Proteins break down less efficiently. Vitamins absorb more slowly. Energy delivery becomes uneven. You eat, but the body doesn't always receive. And when muscles don't receive what they need, they conserve it. Hormones shift as well. Signals that once told your body to rebuild, repair, and strengthen become quieter. Not gone, just softer. This means recovery takes longer. Strength returns more slowly. Fatigue appears sooner. Inflammation also changes, not the sharp kind you feel after injury, but la leve, constant inflammation that interferes with repair. It's like trying to fix a house while dust fills the air. The tools still work, but everything takes longer. And then there's the nervous system, the system responsible for coordination, balance, and confidence. After 65, nerve signals slow just enough to matter. You may not fall, but you hesitate. You don't drop things often, but your grip feels uncertain. You don't forget everything, but words come slower. Each change alone seems small. Together, they create a sense of quiet decline. Here's where most advice goes wrong. People assume the solution is more effort, more exercise, more protein, more supplements, more pucing. But after a certain age, more pressure creates more strain, not more strength. Not more strength. The body isn't asking for force. It's asking for precision. This is why so many seniors feel discouraged. They're trying to solve a new problem with old rules, and the mismatch creates guilt. I should be stronger. I should be doing better. I must be missing something. You are missing something, but it's not discipline. It's not motivation. And it's not willpower. It's understanding how the aging body actually works. And that brings us to the hidden mechanism most people never explain. Because once you see it clearly, everything starts to make sense. Here is the part almost no one explains clearly, because it doesn't fit into a quick appointment, and it doesn't show up neatly on a lab report. After 65, the body doesn't simply get weaker. For most of your life, your body was focused on growth, repair, and performance. Even in your 40s and 50s, recovery was still a priority. But later in life, a quiet shift happens. The body begins asking a different question. Not how do I get stronger, but how do I last? This is where confusion begins. Because outwardly, things still look normal. Your heart is beating. Your organs are functioning. Your blood tests fall within acceptable ranges. But internally, the rules have changed. Energy is no longer distributed evenly. The body starts favoring survival systems over support systems. The brain, the heart, the lungs, they move to the front of the line. Muscles, balance systems, appetite signals, and social energy move quietly to the back. This is not failure. It's strategy. Imagine a household during a power outage. Lights stay on in essential rooms. Other areas go dim. Nothing is broken. Energy is simply being redirected. This is what many seniors feel but cannot explain. They don't feel sick, they just feel reduced. Here's the part people misunderstand. Doctors look for disease. The body is responding to time. This shift doesn't mean the end is near, but it does mean the body is operating under a different logic, and that logic values conservation over expansion. This explains several confusing experiences. Why strength declines even when nutrition seems adequate. Why sleep increases even without depression. Why interest in activity fades without sadness. Why appetite diminishes without nausea. It's not that the body is shutting down. It's that the body is simplifying, reducing demands, lowering noise, saving energy. And when this happens gradually, it can feel unsettling. Because no one told you this phase existed. Instead, people are told to fight aging. But you cannot fight a system you don't understand. Here's the crucial distinction. What people believe: if I just push harder, I'll reverse this. What actually happens? Pushing harder often accelerates exhaustion, because effort without alignment drains the remaining reserves. This is why many seniors feel worse after trying to do more. They're using strength-based strategies for a body that now responds to a fit. Think of it like this. Earlier in life, the body rewarded intensity. Later in life, the body rewards timing, gentleness, and precision. The nervous system becomes more sensitive. Too much stimulation creates fatigue. Too much effort creates soreness. Too much pressure creates withdrawal. But the right amount, at the right moment, in the right form, still creates response. This is the part that restores hope, because the body hasn't stopped listening. It's just listening differently. And when you speak its new language, it responds. That language is not force. It's clarity. It's rhythm. It's respect for the body's changed priorities. Once you understand this, something important happens. You stop blaming yourself. You stop thinking, I'm failing. And you start thinking, my body is asking for something different. That shift alone changes how you age. Now, the next question becomes obvious. If force no longer works, what does? And more importantly, what actually helps the aging body feel stronger, steadier, and more like itself again? That's exactly what we'll talk about next. Once you understand that the body has changed its priorities, the question shifts. Not how do I push myself back to who I was, but how do I work with the body I have now? This is where most advice fails seniors, because it keeps offering intensity to a system that now responds to precision. After 65, effort alone doesn't build strength. Alignment does. The first thing that helps is not a supplement, not an exercise program, not a new diet. It's timing. The aging body responds best earlier in the day, not because mornings are magical, but because energy reserves are naturally higher before they're spent managing digestion, stress, and fatigue. Small actions taken early produce bigger returns than larger actions taken late. A short walk in the morning does more than a long walk in the evening. A light, protein-rich breakfast supports muscles more than a heavy dinner. Gentle movement early tells the nervous system, I'm still here, I'm still participating. And that signal matters. The second thing that helps is simplicity. Aging bodies struggle with overload. Too many foods, too many supplements, too many rules. Complexity creates friction. The body spends energy processing choices instead of repairing tissue. This is why many seniors feel better when they eat fewer foods more consistently. Not restrictive. Predictable. Predictability calms the nervous system, and a calm nervous system allows muscles to engage, balance, to stabilize, and digestion to improve. Now let's talk about movement, not exercise. Movement. Exercise asks, how much can I do? Movement asks, how naturally can I move today? After 60, the body prefers frequent, low-intensity motion over rare, intense sessions. Standing up every 30 minutes, shifting weight from one foot to the other. Slow, deliberate steps. These movements maintain communication between the brain and the muscles, and that communication is what preserves balance and confidence. Here's something most people don't realize. Balance is not a muscle issue, it's a conversation. Between the eyes, the inner ear, the feet, and the brain. When movement becomes rare, that conversation fades. Gentle daily motion keeps the dialogue alive. Now, let's talk about food. But not in the way you've heard before. After 65, the body doesn't respond well to large meals. Big meals demand digestion. Digestion demands blood flow. Blood flow pulled to the gut means less available for muscles and the brain. This is why many seniors feel weak or foggy after eating. Smaller meals, spaced evenly, create less strain and more usable energy. Protein still matters, but quantity matters less than absorption. Soft proteins, easy-to-digest sources, combined with movement, not rest. Eating and then sitting still reduces muscle response. Eating and then walking lightly directs nutrients where they're needed. Now, let's talk about rest. Rest is not inactivity. Rest is intentional recovery. The aging body needs more rest, but not endless stillness. Long periods of complete inactivity tell the body it's no longer needed. Short periods of rest, followed by gentle re-engagement, tell the body to stay involved. Think in cycles. Move. Rest. Move again. Not push. Not collapse. This rhythm supports both strength and confidence. Another overlooked factor is emotional safety. After 60, the nervous system becomes more sensitive to stress, fear, urgency, and pressure translate directly into physical weakness. When a senior feels rushed, balance worsens. When they feel judged, energy drops. When they feel calm and respected, the body functions better. This is not psychological fluff. It's biology. Stress hormones interfere with muscle repair, coordination, and sleep. Reducing stress is not indulgence. It's maintenance. Even simple routines help. Waking at the same time, eating similar meals, moving at familiar hours. Routine reduces decision fatigue, and decision fatigue drains energy faster than movement ever could. Here's the most important shift of all. Stop measuring progress by what you can no longer do. Start measuring it by what feels easier than last month. Standing feels steadier. Walking feels smoother. Recovery feels faster. These are real wins, and they compound. When the body feels safe, it invests again. Not aggressively, not dramatically, but steadily. This is how strength returns after 60. Not as force, as cooperation. In the next part, we're going to talk about something even deeper. Because once you stop fighting your body, something unexpected happens. Your relationship with aging changes, and with that change, fear begins to loosen its grip. Let's talk about that next. At some point, something quiet but profound happens. You stop asking, "What's wrong with me?" and you start asking, "What is my body trying to do?" That question changes everything. Because aging is not a single downward slope. It's a series of transitions, and many of them are misunderstood. Most people are taught that decline means failure, that slowing down is weakness, that needing rest is giving up, that becoming quieter means losing relevance. But that story was written for a younger body. After 60, the body is no longer designed for constant output. It's designed for discernment. It begins filtering effort, filtering stimulation, filtering emotion. What remains is not less life. It's a different quality of life, one that values depth over speed. This is why so many seniors feel confused. Their inner rhythm changes, but the world keeps demanding the old tempo. So they blame themselves. They say things like, "I used to be sharper. I used to be stronger. I don't recognize myself anymore." But here's the truth that rarely gets spoken. You are not disappearing. You are transitioning. And transitions feel uncomfortable when no one explains them. Think about how the body behaved earlier in life. It recovered quickly. It tolerated stress. It bounced back. That phase was about expansion. Later life is about integration. The body begins asking different questions. Do I need this movement? Do I need this conversation? Do I need this stress? And when the answer is no, it withdraws energy. Not because it's broken, because it's wise. This is where many families misunderstand what they're seeing. They see someone sleeping more and assume depression. They see someone eating less and assume neglect. They see someone sitting quietly and assume boredom or loneliness. But often, what they're witnessing is the body and mind choosing peace over stimulation, choosing conservation over consumption, choosing presence over performance. This doesn't mean medical issues don't matter. They do. But not every change needs fixing. Some changes need honoring. One of the most powerful reframes is understanding that worth does not equal productivity. After 60, value comes from presence, from wisdom, from memory, from emotional steadiness, from being a calm center in a noisy world. This is why many elders become better listeners. Why they speak less, but more intentionally. Why they find meaning in small rituals. Morning light, a familiar chair, a quiet meal, a gentle walk. These are not signs of shrinking life. They are signs of refined life. Another important shift is letting go of comparison. Comparing yourself to your younger self is like comparing winter to summer. They serve different purposes. Winter doesn't bloom. It preserves. It rests the soil. It prepares what comes next. When seniors stop fighting their season, something remarkable happens. Anxiety softens. Sleep improves. Pain often feels more manageable, because resistance itself creates tension. Acceptance creates space. This doesn't mean surrendering to suffering. It means choosing wisely where to spend your energy. After 60, energy is precious. Spending it on guilt, frustration, or self-criticism is the most expensive mistake. Spending it on comfort, connection, and gentle care pays dividends. Another reframing that matters deeply is how we view the final chapter of life. Society treats the end of life as something to fear or avoid. But those who have walked closely with aging often discover something else. A quiet clarity emerges. People speak more honestly. They forgive more easily. They let go more fully. The noise fades. What remains is essence. This is not morbid. It's meaningful. Understanding this earlier allows seniors and families to approach aging with less panic and more preparation. Preparation doesn't mean expecting the worst. It means creating space for dignity, for comfort, for choice. When you understand the body's signals, you stop forcing it into roles. It no longer fits, and when that happens, aging becomes less frightening. Not because it's easy, but because it's understood. In the final part, we'll bring everything together. We'll talk directly to you. whether you're aging or caring for someone who is, and we'll end with something essential. Not advice. If you've stayed with me until now, there's something important I want you to hear. Nothing you've learned today was meant to frighten you. It was meant to give you clarity, because fear grows in silence. Understanding brings peace. Aging is not a sudden event. It's a conversation between the body and time, and that conversation is quiet. It doesn't shout, it doesn't announce itself. It whispers through slower steps, longer rest, quieter mornings, shorter conversations. When we don't understand those whispers, we mistake them for problems. We say, something is wrong. But often, nothing is wrong. Something is changing, and change deserves respect. For those of you watching, because you're noticing these shifts in yourself, please know this. You are not failing. You are not fading away. You are responding intelligently to a body that now values conservation over expansion. Your need for rest is not weakness. Your preference for quiet is not withdrawal. Your slower pace is not loss. It is adaptation, and adaptation is a form of strength. For those watching because you care for someone older, a parent, a partner, loveth one. The greatest gift you can offer is not correction. It is presence, not pushing them to eat. More, not forcing them to be social, not insisting they stay active, but sitting beside them. Listening without fixing, allowing silence to exist without filling it. In the final stages of life, comfort matters more than control. Dignity matters more than outcomes. Love matters more than plans. And often, the body already knows what it needs. Our role is simply not to interrupt that wisdom. One of the most painful things families experience is realizing they missed the signs. They were waiting for something dramatic, but life rarely ends loudly. It ends gently, through quiet transitions that only make sense when you understand them. That understanding allows you to say what needs to be said, to hold hands longer, to forgive sooner, to appreciate the small moments that would otherwise pass unnoticed. This knowledge doesn't take away grief, but it does remove regret, and that matters more than most people realize. If this video brought you insight or helped you see aging differently, I'd love to hear from you. Please leave a comment below. Please leave a comment below and share your age. And one thing that surprised you most today: your words matter. They help others feel less alone in their own experience. And if you'd like more calm, honest explanations about aging, health, and the body's quiet signals, consider subscribing to Elderly Health Explained. No fear, no hype, just understanding. Because aging is not something to fight, it's something to walk through with awareness. And when you do, even the hardest seasons can be met with peace. Thank you for spending this time with me. I'll see you in the next video.